Hair Care by Jessica T. Brown. I came back from Camp Cullen with a knotted afro held in place with rubber bands. My mom screamed, "What did you do to your hair?" I didn't know. I spent the last week wilding out at a Christian summer camp on Lake Travis, trying to learn how to shoot rifles and make candles. No one at the mostly white camp knew how to do my hair. I could tell they pitied me every day as the conglomerate mess of knots grew thicker. A few years later, my blonde-haired, blue-eyed best friend Amanda cut my bangs in her bedroom. She doesn't remember this, but we almost had to cut our friendship short. From that day forward, my mom made me swear never to let my friends do my hair. To say my mom was obsessed with my hair would be unfair. No doubt I felt this way growing up, but my mom was trying to protect me from the racist world I didn't know yet. My father was biracial, and my mother is multiracial, making me a mix of everything under the sun. Unlike my half Guyanese, half Portuguese cousins, I didn't grow up with good hair. Their locks were long, strong, and flowed like their crescent waves. My hair didn't really flow. It mostly sat on my shoulders, stuck together with grease and ball hair ties. My mother's hair is straight, and as such, she would brush my hair for hours, straightening it with every pull. I started relaxing my hair at 11. Sodium hydroxide dripping down my neck, skull, and into my ears. I have sensitive skin, which I later learned was psoriasis, so my head would burn almost every time. Painful moments waiting for the toxic chemicals to tame my hair. What might sound like cruel and unusual punishment to some is a tradition in many Black homes, the need to conform our hair to fit white standards. I remember the day my brother decided to grow an afro. My father grumbled words of ghetto and ragamuffin at him. The irony is, my father had an afro in high school, and I'm sure his mother called him the same names. My brother grew out his afro despite my father's objection, until it became cumbersome, then reverting it to a slick fade. Whenever my mom would make a huff about my hair, I'd say, "I can't wait to shave my head when I'm older." When I did shave my head at 23, I cried and felt alien in my fresh cut, until I sat with my skin. I looked at myself. The sensuous pattern that swam across my skull, the crinkles of crow's feet growing out from my eyes, the way my sideburns proudly sat on my cheeks. Now, more exposed than ever, I began to embrace myself. I could go swimming in the pool without the chlorine chemicals making my hair fall out. I could go for a jog and not worry about sweating out my relaxer. I could have sex and not be afraid of my hair being a shitty mess in the morning. I didn't have to worry about leaving the straightener on, having bobby pins with me, or paying $100 an appointment to burn my head. Freedom couldn't be sweeter. People ask why I shave my head, and I almost always said, I hated doing my hair. It's true. I did hate to do my hair. It was a massive time suck of an inconvenience. I mostly hated doing the brittle, broken hair I had that never grew past my shoulders. I always wanted tight ringlet curls. Instead, I shaved my head and lived in my skin. After being bald for a year, I began to grow my hair out, and I learned I had these ringlets all along. My 3C curls, mixed with 4C coils, created a crown of mahogany brown hair around my head. Unfortunately, my stress caught up to me, and this was when I learned of my psoriasis. After 8 months of growth and trying to manage, I shaved my head and moved on. A year later, I found myself in a lecture at the University of Oregon where a PhD student shared their dissertation covering Escape the Corset, a feminist movement in South Korea aimed at rejecting the country's standards of beauty and the social pressure to conform. I sat there, the only bald person in the room, finding the other truth in my answer. I shaved my head because I wanted to control this part of my being that was so personal to me. I didn't care to fit into anyone's standard of beauty. I felt more beautiful bald than I had in my entire life. I used the time inside this year to get to know my skin and connect with my multiracial roots. I grew out my hair, learned to take care of it, and cut it again because I can. Because it's my hair, and I'll do what I want with it. I thought of writing this story because a mentee asked if she should get box braids. The last time she did, she was fired from her job, and her employer refused to tell her why. Her introduction to workplace discrimination. Before answering her, I had to consider today's job market and acknowledge my positionality in wearing my hair the way I want. But I told her what my Black mentor told me, and it's what I'll tell all the Black people I know. Wear your hair however you want. These standards of professionalism we're aspiring for are racist, and we deserve better than that. We fought too hard not to be ourselves in this world. You don't want to work for an employer who won't accept you for all of your Blackness. I don't mean to be naive of stats and ample research showing how often Black people are discriminated against because of their hair. And yet, I wouldn't want to work for anyone who would make me relax my hair again. Girl, please.